Every year, hundreds of thousands of pets are lost or stolen, leaving behind devastated families. It doesn't have to be this way. PediMark microchips store all the information you need to get your pet home safely. No need for that sometimes stressful trip to the vet. Visit PediMark.com today and a qualified microchip implanter can visit your home to microchip your pet in comfort. Quick, easy and safe. PediMark, helping your best friend get home. PediMark, proud sponsors of Pets for Life.
Hello and welcome to Pets for Life. With around half of all homes in the UK owning a pet, it would seem that we are a nation of animal lovers. But are we? Pet abandonment is on the rise. Last Christmas saw a record number of animals being abandoned, and we have to ask ourselves why. Throughout this series, we will be joined by leading UK animal welfare charity the Blue Cross, who will share with us their expert advice and a wealth of knowledge in all aspects of responsible pet ownership. We will also be exploring the health benefits of owning a pet, commonly referred to as pet power. The Blue Cross is one of the UK's leading animal charities. So we've been around for over 100 years now. We help thousands of sick and homeless animals every year, and that's anything from hamsters to horses. We have a network of animal adoption centres and hospitals, and they look after many thousands of animals every year. We're very fortunate in the UK. We are a nation of animal lovers. We do occasionally hear about very sad and tragic incidences of animal cruelty, but thankfully at the Blue Cross, on the whole, we don't see that here. I mean, we occasionally take in cases of neglect where perhaps somebody hasn't understood everything that the animal needs, and that they've come into us and we can help give them those things. But on the whole, the animals come into us because their owners have had a change in circumstances and they can't look after that pet anymore. We'll also be meeting up with leaders and innovators in the UK pet industry, and with their help, this series will explore the pros and cons of buying a new pet. First up, we talk to Burns Pet Nutrition about the importance of a balanced, good quality diet for the most popular household pet in the UK.
Burns Pet Nutrition is a pet food company. It was started by veterinary surgeon John Burns, who, when he was in practice, he saw a lot of pets with health problems, not necessarily serious ones, but things like itchy skin, bad breath, digestive upset and molting.
Well, our first recipe was chicken and brown rice, dry complete food. And basically we started off with two formulations, one for maintenance and a high energy food for growing and dogs and breeding bitches. And we've gradually developed from that.
It's a big commitment taking on a pet. My own rabbits probably eat more fresh vegetables than I do, so you need to bear that in mind, that you know, it's no good feeding your family organic, natural food if you're then going to feed your dog or cat a bowl of coloured biscuits. The colours, the dog doesn't care what colour the food is. The colourings, the reds and greens and yellows, are the same sort of chemical additives that they're trying to take out of children's foods, because they create behavioural issues, hyperactivity. So when your dog is sort of bouncing off the walls, it might be a good idea to look at what you're feeding them.
With over 10 million households choosing a cat as their preferred pet, we meet up with Julian Banbridge of Encore Pet Foods for Cats.
There's really three key areas to make sure that you've got a very, very healthy dog and cat. First of all, we always say a really, really high quality balanced diet. It's very important. Secondly, lots of exercise. You've got to consider where you live, what kind of house you've got, where you are, whether that cat or dog can have lots of exercise, because that's going to contribute considerably to the health and welfare of that animal. And thirdly, regular checks with the vet. Make sure you get them in, don't miss any. even if it's just as a checkup like us, to go and see the GP every now and again to make sure that all is well. If you look after them with a quality food and regular vet checks, you'd be surprised how cheap that can become. We're aware that salt's not great for our children, we're aware that too much sugar's not good for our children, and then we need to find the finest quality ingredients. Why not cats and dogs? They were important to the family. That's why we wanted to go down that route, give them the best quality nutrition that we could without cutting any corners. We only use human grade breast of chicken or fillet of tuna. We don't use anything that's not of human grade. A lot of other pet foods use meat and animal derivatives, which is, as you can imagine, it's not that chicken breast that you get with your food, and it's not that tuna fillet. We will only use that in our food because we don't believe in adding anything else.
Whilst cats and dogs are two of the most popular animals in the UK, we caught up with Jackie Hunt from Bruno's Parrot Warehouse for some advice on owning exotic birds.
The reason that we specialise in parrots is because that's what we enjoy, and we breed those ourselves. So home is always full of parrots, but of course if you like one type of animal then you generally like others. So we keep all sorts of things. Reptiles, small furry things, rabbits, hamsters, chickens, they're the new in thing at the moment. Everybody wants to keep chickens. So we have fancy chickens as well, there's all sorts. Oh, people have kept birds as pets for generations, you know, thousands of years. You know, in the Amazon, they tamed down Amazon parrots and kept them with the home, because they give you something that no other pet really can give you. All pets give you something and they don't ask for much in return, but parrots in particular, when you walk in after a stressful day, you've had a row in the office or something, and you walk into a wolf whistle or hello, it's lovely, it's heartwarming, you know, it's just, the speaking is the thing that a lot of people want from parrots. Not all parrots speak, many of them do, some are better at it than others, but that's the advantage of their intelligence, because they can speak. But as I say, intelligence needs to be worked with.
The Burns Health Management Programme was brought about because it's not simply enough to get a bag of good quality food and feed it to your pet and hope for the best. It just doesn't work like that. You've actually got to cut out all the other little things that you're giving as well. You really need to increase their exercise. If it's a dog, generally, try and take them out on more walks to burn off a lot of the excess energy they're getting. And the quantity of food is crucial. It's really, really important that you get the feeding amounts right, because even on a good quality food, if you feed too much of it, you could get problems, not just obesity, but digestive upsets.
There are a number of benefits to feeding dry food, not least the convenience of feeding a dry food and placing that on the floor for your animal. It's very good for removing tartar and dental control, because the cat or dog has to crunch, and also it's easy to deliver the nutritional requirements in a very small portion. We believe that you should feed a balanced mix, so wet and dry. There is a lot of work that says that wet is good, there's a lot of work that says that dry is good. I think if you follow each one on its own, that's when you can run into problems. If you feed them, a combination of the two is where you get the best results.
There's lots and lots of different types of parrots, and they all have slightly different things to offer. So when somebody comes to us thinking about buying a parrot, the best thing we can do first is ask what somebody wants the parrot to do. You know, what are you expecting from a parrot? You get ones that are particularly good at talking, like your African greys are the best talkers. However, if you live in a busy home where there's different people in and out all the time, an African grey might not be for you. They do pick up on different things. They like routine, African greys. They like to see similar people a lot of the time. Whereas a blue-fronted Amazon, much more colourful, can speak as well as an African grey, and they just accept anybody and anything into the house. So some people want something beautiful to look at, I mean, I think greys are beautiful as well, but they're not everybody's cup of tea. And some people, it's the speaking ability. Some people say, I don't mind if it talks, it's a bonus, but I want something to be cuddly. Then you'd push them maybe in the direction of a cockatoo. We would suggest that you leave a radio or the television on. If you're out at work though, it doesn't mean to say that you can't have a parrot. You do need to give them, thank you Skittle, you do need to give them some quality time. Like when you get in, they get quite used to routine. Have them out, play with them, do some training, you know, do some games, but make sure that they do have that quality time.
There are certain needs that every animal has, and these are recognised under the Animal Welfare Act, and actually every pet owner has a duty to provide these things for their animals. Diet is a key one. Many animals are overweight and they need a proper balanced diet. They need to have the space and the environment that's suitable for them, so it might be toys, it might be bedding, it might be just the space to run around. They need to have companionship, so some animals enjoy being with similar animals like rabbits, others may prefer to be on their own, so it needs to be appropriate for that animal. They need to have the opportunity to display their natural behaviours. So if a dog, if you have a dog, you need to be able to run around and play with the dog. If you have a cat, they like to run up trees, and an animal needs to have the ability to do those things.
After the break, we will learn more from our experts on how to provide the best possible animal health care for our pets.
At Bruno's, we're passionate about parrots, fantastic with fish, crazy about cats, giddy about guinea pigs, we're diligent about dogs, happy about hens, cheery about chinchillas, and we rave about reptiles. With over 25 years of experience, we know all sorts about toys, cages, treats, training and diet. Visit our website or call in and have a chat. We're 2 minutes off Junction 16 of the M1.
Barney loved his owner. He thought his owner would always love him. Hungry, frightened, and alone, Barney is just one of thousands of animals taken in by the Blue Cross every year because nobody wants them. Will you give just £2 a month to the Blue Cross? Will you help save the life of a homeless animal like Barney? He relies on us now, but we rely on you. £2 a month can help us go on caring day after day until we find just the right home for Barney, however long it takes.
I don't think so. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay then.
Sorry, we'll look at the...
Okay, bye-bye.
Please help. Visit our website and give £2 a month. We're counting on your support.
All dogs love their food, but I know what's good for me. And I certainly don't want any artificial additives. I want a food which helps keep me healthy. That's why I insist on Burns Real Food for dogs. Burns helps my body function naturally and keeps me full of life. It's economical to use, saves her money, and I love the taste. Make the natural choice for your dog. Burns Real Food for Pets.
What will your cat do for an encore? Cats love Encore because it has no additives, no preservatives and no colouring. Just 100% natural ingredients. What will your cat do for an Encore?
Every year, hundreds of thousands of pets are lost or stolen, leaving behind devastated families. It doesn't have to be this way. PediMark microchips store all the information you need to get your pet home safely. No need for that sometimes stressful trip to the vet. Visit PediMark.com today and a qualified microchip implanter can visit your home to microchip your pet in comfort. Quick, easy and safe. PediMark, helping your best friend get home.
Owning a pet is a big commitment. Recent research has suggested that every day almost 2 million dogs are left alone for longer than they should be, and that a further 3 million cats are not vaccinated and left vulnerable to potentially fatal diseases.
Last year, the Blue Cross dealt with nearly 3,500 cats, nearly 1,000 of those were kittens. Here at the centre, we've rehomed normally about 380 a year. We're already on 80 this year so far, so it's quite a high throughput for the cats and the kittens. I think cats fit into people's lifestyles a lot more easier. People who work full time, for example, can have cats. People with really young children who might find it hard to find a pet can get a little kitten. So yeah, they definitely fit into people's lives a bit more easier, and generally they are a bit easier to rehome because they don't get as many behavioural problems and they don't need as much from a home.
Obesity in pets is a real problem, just like it is in humans. Again, very similar to us, it can shorten their lifespan, your pet's lifespan. It puts pressure on many of the organs, including the heart. And in older dogs, if they've already got a bit of a joint issue, it puts more pressure on the joints, causing arthritis or making the arthritis worse, so it's painful for them. The main issue we think in this country is that many owners don't actually realise their pet is overweight, and they're shocked when they're told that the pet's overweight. The best way to tell is by their ribs, and you can do this with dogs, cats and rabbits. You should always be able to easily feel their ribs, and there should be a very slight covering. If you can't feel the ribs and you're having to press, that means they're a little bit overweight. With dogs, if you're looking down on them from above, you should see a waistline, so they should tuck in after the rib cage. A little bit more difficult with cats, and with rabbits there isn't really a waistline, but if they become too heavy, often the females will get a big roll of fat around their neck. So you want to avoid that really before it even starts.
We have dogs and cats in our house. All the employees at MPM have dogs and cats, and that's where the Encore brand came from, was a search for those pets to provide the best quality 100% natural food we possibly can. Both the dog and cat fed on a good quality food will be much more rewarding in the home environment. They'll have much more vitality, they'll interact more, they'll be healthier. Although we always recommend that regular trips to the vet is part of pet ownership, your visits to the vet will be a lot less if you give them a good, high quality pet food. I think owning a dog and cat is extremely rewarding, and people who do get an awful lot from that experience, and it does enhance the family environment. Lots of manufacturers, including us out there, who have very open and honest care lines that will help you not just with the product that you're buying from us, but also with general tips about owning cats and dogs. So don't worry about it, don't feel as though you're on your own. Get out, phone these care lines, they will be happy to help you with whatever problems or issues that you're facing now or will face if you've chosen to take a dog and cat home.
They are a different type of pet. I mean, I wouldn't be without my dogs or my cats, but these give you something else, and it is to do with their intelligence and their speaking. I mean, they have you howling half the time. When they get it right and they almost hold a conversation with themselves. We've got an African grey and a Quaker that live at home, and the African grey goes, "Be quiet, Skipper," and Skipper goes, "Shut up," and they just have this conversation, and that it's just amazing. And then the African grey makes the noise of the door, so you all look round at the door and you think it's not the door, it's the grey, and then the Quaker starts. So when they get that sort of thing, they're such fun. You know, and you don't have to have a massive garden to have one of these. Some birds don't ever fly. Skittle, for instance, she'd rather walk everywhere than fly. Some birds do like to fly, but it really depends on the bird. Oh, hello, are you showing us your beautiful wings? So when they're kept outside, because parrots can be kept outside, then obviously they tend to fly more than if they're kept inside. When they're inside, they do tend to climb around rather than flying.
When you're looking for a food for your dog or cat, there are a few things that you need to think about when you're searching the shelves. The first thing is obviously the age of your pet. If it's a puppy or kitten, they're going to need a different food for growth. mainly because the biscuit size might be smaller, or it might have more energy in it to help them get to their ideal weight. If it's an elderly pet, they're not going to need as many calories, so feeding a lower fat diet might be a consideration. A lot of people assume that if your dog or cat has a dietary intolerance, they'll be itchy all the time, or they'll have digestive problems, quite obvious ones, but it can be things like if you've got a dog that's not gaining weight on a particular food, it could be because it's intolerant to something in that food. So it's sort of assessing whether, you know, what the symptoms are and whether there's another cause.
You can manufacture your own pet food at home. You can feed raw, and there are some the ways of cooking food. However, there are some drawbacks of doing that from home. It's still great if you feed your dog and cats fresh chicken breasts, for example. However, there are some drawbacks in terms of bacterial control. When you're buying a prepared pet food, you know that that's been dealt with. You're not always sure that's been dealt with when you do it at home. And also monitoring some of the nutrients, fat content. It's not easy to do from a home environment. So if you're going to feed a cat for a long period of time, I think the advice would always be to feed a prepared food and use your own food as a treat. For the benefit, 100% natural chicken. You can see, 100% chicken breast, nothing else.
It's good.
Fantastic.
Have I got to eat it now?
You have.
Okay, I'll have my own fork.
Have your own fork. Be brave.
That is pretty good.
There you go.
Needs more salt.
It does, but then the cat doesn't.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no reason why we can't provide the same quality food that we would like for our dogs and cats. Tuna has become particularly important to the consumer on the way that it's taken from the sea. We're a member of the Earth Island Institute, which means that each captain has to register their catch with the authorities to make sure that there's no byproduct. We try as best we can to be as responsible as we can with each type of ingredient that we use. Our tuna is caught with big open nets to try and reduce the side catch, and we don't have any long line caught tuna, which is not sustainable.
All of our diets are actually based on the home cooked recipe that John Burns used to recommend, but we've actually got a new moist food now that actually takes that a little bit further, that one step further. The reason it's so special is because we're sourcing the ingredients from as local sources as possible and as ethically as possible as well. And some of the ingredients are actually grown on our own farm. We actually grow the vegetables for the food ourselves, and we have our own flock of free-range chickens that produce the eggs to go in the food.
The first thing you need to do is to do some research, thorough research. The internet is fabulous for all sorts of things. On owning pets, particularly exotics, if you go on the internet, you'll get 6 people that say one thing, 6 people that say something else. Read them all, absolutely read them all, but then go and talk to somebody that knows what they're doing, that has been keeping something for a long period of time. We get questions about hamsters that you wouldn't believe. They really make us smile, but we're happy for those questions. Once you've had your initial purchase, make sure your cage is large enough and it fits in with your room. If you can, get one that opens up at the top, then that's even better, because obviously it gives the bird an exit route as well. The feeding and the cleaning out of your parrot is minimal, all right? What you do need to put into the equation is the different toys. A lot of our customers have a toy box, so 1 month, 3 different toys come out of the box and you put them in. Then next month those 3 go back in and another 3 come out. So you need to factor into it toys and different things to stimulate your parrot. But the actual feeding and the cleaning out, pence a week.
If you're looking to own a pet, the best thing I can say is make sure you do your research. Check if you're getting a dog, is that particular breed suitable for your lifestyle? If you're getting a rabbit for your children, are you prepared to take on looking after it once the novelty's worn off? If you've got any doubt at all, ask a pet care professional, whether it's your vet, a breeder, a behaviourist or a nutritionist, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to give you further advice. If you already have a pet, again, that advice is still out there. You just need to ask for it, basically. If you can feed a good quality food from the start, hopefully they'll have less health problems and, with any luck, live that little bit longer as well.
I think the reason that lots more dogs and cats are being abandoned than have been in the previous decade is that recently we've seen a lot of families come under pressure for their own costs. And if you're trying to provide for a family and our companion animals as well, it becomes very tough. There are many organisations out there that not only will help you, but they'll help you before you need to abandon that animal. So I think it's a lack of awareness of where do I go in times of stress and trouble and financial pressure. There are even organisations out there that will help you in your own home to stop that animal being abandoned. Nobody needs to abandon an animal in this country ever again. There's plenty of organisations that will take on that animal for you, and there are plenty of also support groups that will help you to look after that animal in your own home. There's plenty of organisations that will take care of vet bills, for example. There are plenty of organisations that will help you feed that animal should you come on bad times, and make sure you can provide a good quality diet for the dog or cat.
I can't imagine a home without a pet. I can imagine lots of houses without pets, but for me a home has at least a pet, whether it be dog, cat, hamster, budgie, parrot, tortoise even. Every home I think needs a pet. Every family needs a pet. The kids learn so much from keeping pets. As I say, my house is full of kids and pets. I couldn't imagine being without either.
We must all remember that owning a pet isn't always easy, and there are many factors that need to be taken into consideration. It is all too easy to be ruled by our hearts, but whether you choose a cat or a dog or an exotic bird, that decision should not be taken lightly. There is a wealth of information out there to help you decide if a pet is right for you, and indeed what kind of pet you should choose. But never forget, it's a commitment for life. In the next episode of Pets for Life, we'll explore more of the issues surrounding the increasing pet abandonment and how we can all provide the best care possible for our animal companions. See you next week.